Today, we're going to dive into a concept that might just completely change how you think about a very common human trait. Seriously, if you've ever been told you're too sensitive, you're going to want to stick around. Let's get right into what we're calling the 8K mind. So let me ask you, has anyone ever hit you with that one? You're just too sensitive. Maybe it was said with a sigh, or, in the middle of an argument. It's a phrase that gets tossed around a lot, and let's be honest, it almost always lands like a punch. Like there's something wrong with you. But what if we've been looking at this completely backwards? What if being sensitive isn't a bug in your programming, but a premium, top-of-the-line, high-resolution feature? Like a built-in capacity for incredible detail and depth that most people just, they miss it. And that's exactly what we mean by the 8K mind. Think about the difference between an old standard def TV from back in the day and a brand new 8K screen. They can both show you the same movie, sure, but one of them reveals this astonishing level of detail, color, and texture you didn't even know was there. The 8K mind is just like that. It processes the world around you with that same extraordinary depth and clarity. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is the 8K mind, really? What does it actually feel like to perceive the world in such high fidelity? Let's put it side by side. Someone with, let's call it standard def processing, they hear the words in a conversation, they get the main plot points. But the person with 8K processing? Wow, they're picking up on everything. The tiny hesitation before an answer, the fleeting micro-expression that betrays a different emotion, the unspoken tension in the room. It's the difference between just hearing the notes of a song and feeling the music in your soul. You can almost think of it as a unique operating system, an 8K OS, with 4 key features built right in. First, there's deeper processing. You're not just taking in facts, you're constantly connecting them to past experiences, running simulations about the future. Then there's heightened empathy, which gives you this almost spooky intuitive grasp of what other people are feeling. Acute sensory acuity can mean you're more sensitive to sounds, lights, even textures. And of course, the big one, a master-level ability to notice all the little nuances and subtleties that just fly right by most people. But why? Why would a trait like this even exist in the first place? Well, it turned out this high-resolution perception wasn't some random glitch. It was actually an evolutionary upgrade, a really powerful tool for survival. And this is the part that's just fascinating. These ancient survival skills translate directly into modern-day superpowers. Think about noticing subtleties. Ages ago, that meant you were the one who heard a twig snap and sensed a predator hiding in the bushes. Today, that exact same skill becomes strategic innovation. You're the one who spots a tiny shift in the market or a hidden flaw at a competitor's plan that everyone else just scrolls past. Or take deep empathy. Back then, it was the glue that held the tribe together. Now, it's the absolute bedrock of great leadership, creating teams where people feel safe, understood, and fired up to do their best work. Okay, so maybe you're sitting there nodding along, recognizing yourself in all of this. The million-dollar question is, how do you manage this high-fidelity perception without just getting completely overwhelmed at all? How do you actually harness it and turn it into your superpower? It really comes down to 3 key steps. Step 1, reframe. You have to start seeing this as a flaw. It's a strength, it's your data-gathering superpower, period. Step 2, curate. An 8K screen needs the right kind of input, and so do you. You have to manage your environment. This might mean you need quiet time to decompress, or you have to be smart about the social settings you're in. It's not about hiding from the world, it's about intelligent energy management. And finally, step 3, leverage. Be intentional about applying this skill. A project manager with an 8K mind doesn't just see that a deadline is at risk. They perceive the cell of friction on a team, they pick up on the client's unstated worries, and by leveraging that deep perception, they can solve the real problem, not just the symptom. So, you see, this whole thing is about putting on a new pair of glasses. It's about looking at sensitivity through a new lens and finally seeing it for what it is, not a flaw, but a feature. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. The future belongs to those who see the world not just clearly, but deeply. In a world that is just full of noise and surface-level information, the ability to see deeply, to find the nuance, to read the subtext, to spot the hidden connections, that's not a weakness. That is the defining advantage for the future. So, I'll just leave you with this one question. If you recognized yourself in this, if you've ever felt that you just see and feel things a little more intensely than others, how are you going to choose to use your high-resolution mind?